There is something growing in your chest tonight that you do not have a word for yet. It is not quite a feeling, and it is not quite a thought. It is closer to a recognition, the way you recognize something you have known for a long time without having acknowledged that you knew it. The way you recognize a scent from years ago that unlocks a room you had not visited in longer than you can name. Something in you has been quietly preparing a foundation for months, laying soil, removing stones, clearing the ground of everything that occupied it when the last major planting happened. And tonight the sky is handing you a seed and asking a question that your roots already know the answer to. Are you ready to let it grow? Tonight at 5:43 a.m. Eastern Time, the new moon arrives at 21 degrees and 59 minutes of Cancer. This is a supermoon. The moon is at its closest orbital point to the Earth, measurably closer than at an ordinary new moon. Its gravitational pull on the tidal systems of this planet and of your body distinctly stronger. The ancient farmers who planted by the lunar calendar were not being superstitious when they chose supermoon planting windows. They were being precise. Seeds planted when the moon is closest to the Earth receive a gravitational invitation to germinate that is not present at any other point in the cycle. What you intend tonight, what you name tonight, what you commit to tonight in the dark of the new moon carries that same invitation. It is not symbolic, it is tidal. But here is what nobody is telling you about this specific new moon. To understand what it is offering tonight, you have to understand what preceded it. For 12 months, from June 2025 to June 30th, 2026, Jupiter, the planet of abundance and expansion, and the story you tell about why your life matters, was in Cancer. This is the sign of Jupiter's exaltation, the place where the greater benefic is not merely present, but sovereign. Jupiter in Cancer expanded the domain of Cancer themes in your life for an entire year. The themes of home, of emotional safety, of what you need in order to feel held, of the difference between the life you constructed and the life that would actually nourish you, of what you stop asking for when you learn early enough that asking is dangerous. During those 12 months, something was prepared in you that happens at the root level, not visible from the surface, not something you could point to at dinner when someone asked how things were going. The preparation happened the way foundations are prepared, below the visible structure, before the building rises, in the kind of silence that sounds like nothing is happening because what is happening cannot be seen from above. You may have dreamed differently this year. You may have found yourself returning in thought and in dream, to rooms from your past, to kitchens that no longer exist, to voices you had stopped expecting to hear, that strange heaviness behind your ribs when you pass the place where you grew up, or speak to a family member you have complicated feelings about. The 3 a.m. awakening, where the word home arrived without context, and you did not know whether it referred to a place or a feeling or a person. These are not random. These are Jupiter in Cancer working in the foundation of your life, loosening old roots, clearing old grief, building the capacity for something larger to grow where something insufficient once stood. On June 30th, Jupiter left Cancer and entered Leo. The year of deep root work is complete, and tonight, 2 weeks after Jupiter's departure, the first new moon in Cancer arrives since that transition. This is the first planting in the prepared ground, the soil that 12 months of Jupiterian expansion made ready. And a supermoon is delivering the seed. Let me show you the specific nature of what Cancer asks you to plant. Because Cancer is not abstract. Cancer is not spiritual in the gaseous sense. Cancer is the most bodily of the water signs. It governs the stomach, the chest, the rib cage, that bony architecture that protects the most vulnerable organs. It governs the literal home, the food on the table, the quality of sleep in a room where you feel safe. The difference between a house and a home is entirely a Cancer distinction, and Cancer makes that distinction with the precision of someone who learned it the hard way, which is the only way Cancer ever learns anything. You cannot explain safety to someone who grew up knowing it the way you can explain it to someone who spent years learning to live without it. What Cancer is asking you to plant tonight is the specific thing your body knows it needs that you have not yet allowed yourself to name out loud, not what you should need. Not what the responsible adult version of yourself claims to require. The thing that lives in the chest when you are tired enough to stop performing and honest enough to feel what is actually there. The quality of belonging that you have been building toward. The conversation that has been forming in the back of your mind about what home actually means to you now, as opposed to what it meant when you built the version you are currently living in. The permission you have been waiting for someone else to give you to require what you require. Jupiter in Cancer for 12 months has been doing one thing at the root level of your life. It has been asking you to believe that what you need is not too much, that the hunger for safety is not weakness, that the desire for a home that actually holds you, whether that home is a physical space or an emotional quality or a relationship or simply a version of yourself that you stop abandoning whenever someone else's needs arrive, that desire is not greed. It is the most basic requirement of a living thing. And the thing that Jupiter in Cancer was building in you is the belief that you are allowed to ask for it, not just to want it quietly in the dark, to ask for it out loud, with your name on the request. Tonight's new moon is the first test of that belief, because new moons are dark. The sky is black tonight, no moonlight, just the absence of the light that has been illuminating the preparations. And in that darkness, the only thing you can see is what your body knows without light. The thing Cancer governs that no other sign accesses with the same directness, not wisdom, not intellect, instinct. The primal cellular knowing of what feeds and what starves, what nourishes and what depletes. The knowing that operates before the mind has time to construct its careful reasons for ignoring what the body said first. Now let me add the specific pressure this lunation is carrying that makes it more than a pleasant new beginning. Mercury is retrograde in Cancer. It has been retrograde since June 29th and will station direct on July 23rd. Mercury retrograde in Cancer is not Mercury retrograde in the air signs, where plans get scrambled and communications go sideways. Mercury retrograde in Cancer is far more interior. It is the emotional mind moving backward through territory it already covered, retracing the path it took when it was moving forward, returning to every feeling that was filed away rather than felt, every understanding about what you need that you developed and then postponed acting on, every conversation with a family member that went unfinished, every moment where the safer version of yourself said fine when the true version of yourself would have said something different. Mercury retrograde in Cancer, conjunct this new moon, means that what you are planting tonight is directly connected to what the retrograde has been unearthing. The intention you set at this new moon is not a new idea. It is the completion of something that has been forming since before you were conscious of it. The seed in your hand has been growing in your pocket for months. Tonight you recognize that it has been there all along. Tonight the ground is ready and the light is right for planting, even though you cannot see any light at all. This is the Cancer paradox. Cancer does its most significant work in the dark, in the womb, in the dream, in the night kitchen where the food that feeds the family is prepared before anyone else is awake. What happens tonight happens before the evidence of it is visible. That is not a flaw. That is precisely how roots grow. The 16 signs most directly activated by this new moon are the cardinal signs. If you carry significant chart placements in Cancer, Aries, Libra, or Capricorn, particularly near 21 degrees, tonight's lunation is landing in a specific house of your chart with a specific invitation. For Cancer and Cancer rising, the new moon is in your first house. The seed you are planting tonight is yourself, the version of you that the Jupiter year built in the basement. The one who knows that needing is not weakness, the one who stopped performing sufficiency long enough to feel what is actually required. For Aries and Aries rising, the new moon lands in your fourth house. The foundations are asking for a new beginning, not the house necessarily, the feeling inside it, the architecture of safety that the home creates or fails to create. For Libra and Libra rising, the new moon is in your 10th house, a new beginning in how you present yourself to the world. The work that nourishes versus the work that merely sustains. For Capricorn and Capricorn rising, the new moon opposes your sign. The integration question, what you have built in your public life and what it is costing your private one. Which side of the ledger needs rebalancing? And for every sign, the Cancer new moon carries the same fundamental invitation, not in grand language, in the language of the kitchen and the bed and the body. In the language of what you actually feel when you stop explaining why you feel it. What do you need tonight? Not in the abstract, in the specific rooms of your actual life. Name it in the dark. Name it the way you name things when no one is listening. The way your body names them at 3 a.m. when the performing self has gone to sleep and what is left is the one who knows. Here is the practice for tonight. It is built for a supermoon Cancer new moon, and it will not work the same way at any other lunation this year. Find a glass of water, actual water, the kind you would drink. Place it somewhere stable near where you will sleep tonight. A windowsill, a bedside table, any surface where it will remain undisturbed. Before you sleep, sit with the glass for 1 minute, not meditating, simply sitting. Let your hands rest around the glass without picking it up. Cancer is a water sign. The moon governs water. Your body is more water than anything else. Letting your hands rest around a glass of still water in the dark of a Cancer new moon. Supermoon is not ritual performance. It is the most literal enactment possible of what Cancer asks. You, water, the dark, the quiet. In that minute, allow one sentence to form. Begin it with these words. What I am ready to hold is, and let the sentence finish itself. You do not need to speak it aloud. You do not need to write it immediately. Let it form in the body first. Let it arrive through the same channel that wakes you at 3 a.m. with knowings that the morning tries to talk you out of. When the minute is complete, drink the water. Let the intention enter the body. That is how Cancer works, not through proclamation, through incorporation, through the act of taking something in rather than announcing something outward. Then sleep. Let the supermoon do its gravitational work on the fluids of your body. Let the dreams run. Cancer new moons produce dreams of unusual density and nourishment. The faces that appear are not random. The rooms you visit are not accidental. Mercury, retrograde in Cancer, is feeding the dreaming mind with everything it has been gathering since June 29th. Let it work. Trust the water. Trust the dark. Trust what has been prepared in you during the 12 months of Jupiter's residency in the sign that governs all of this. In 6 months, the Cancer full moon will rise and illuminate what you planted tonight. In 6 months, you will know whether the root held, whether the thing you named in the dark was true enough to survive contact with the light, whether what you needed was what you asked for, or whether the asking itself was the thing that needed to happen first. What is ready to be held in you that was not ready before? Write it below. Not the version that sounds appropriate. The version that arrived in your body before your mind could shape it into something safe. The version that knows it has been waiting. Someone will scroll to that comment later tonight, carrying the same unnamed readiness, looking for confirmation that the ground in them is also prepared for something that has not yet been named. Your sentence is that confirmation. The new moon is dark. The ground is ready. What comes next is in your hands. Subscribe and turn on the bell. What the Cancer new moon plants tonight reaches its first visible growth in the weeks ahead. The next video will walk you through what emerges from the dark and what to do when the seedling first breaks the surface. The universe has spoken. What comes next is in your hands.